Hell yeah. All right, boys. It's about that time. It's been 2 weeks since we all last got together and talked about music on everybody's favorite music podcast, Whatchu Spinnin. How are we doing?
Doing super duper. It's my favorite podcast. Damn, it's so great. No, it's good,
yeah.
man. It's been a good weekend. Not too shabby. Not a lot going on. Just kind of lazy.
Yeah. Been a good 2 weeks. Where right now we just made some weed butter, some compound butter. We're about to make some edibles with it, so I'm pretty stoked. But yeah, looking out to be a good weekend so far.
Hell yeah. I love the sound of that. Fuck it. I can't go jam. I got to drive 2.5 hours to Bend. I'm going to go. I'm gonna have weed butter and climb in Jake's cat tree.
Come over. We're going to do banana bread.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you going to make? Banana bread?
Oh, banana bread.
Nice.
Ooh. Yeah.
Nice. Pretty cool.
Yeah, baby. Hell yeah. Well, word on the street is, Matt, you've got a little bit of a tale to tell.
Yeah, since we're all wearing our hoodies, the Whatchu Spinnin hoodies in the house. I wore this to work yesterday, as I do once in a while. I hadn't worn it in a while because it makes me think of Dorian, and I get sad, and I'm like, where's my buddy? He's not here. So I was wearing it. We have a couple new employees that are like temporary employees helping out because, you know, shit show that is what's going on. And so one of them's like, dude, I love your hoodie. Where'd you get that? And so I was able to just spill everything to him, tell him about the podcast, about the hoodie, all that jazz. Lo and behold, this guy is probably at least 20 years younger than me, but has a lot of the similar music tastes that we do. And so he started watching the cast yesterday during work and was like into it. And so I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. You never know who's going to like music, especially the music that we like. It's all relevant to everybody. And he was talking about De La Soul and shit like that. And I was like, all right.
Fuck yeah.
Respect. Yeah. That's
Very
cool.
cool.
So always like getting new people turned on to the cast and just talking about music with anybody in general. So it was a good interaction and made a new music buddy. So there you go.
Hell
nice. Yeah. Very cool. I like wearing it sometimes, just if I'm going grocery shopping or whatever, and I'll get looks. I don't ever get anyone that's come up to me lately, but everyone looks at it always. So it's like, plant the seeds, you know?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm in, I have a project right now that I'm doing. Here, you guys can help me out with this.
All right.
All of this to say, I got to get stickers made soon. But you see this white guitar right here? This little Telecaster baby?
Mm-hmm.
I bought a second pick guard for it, and I'm going to sticker bomb it. And so I've been collecting stickers since like October. And so I got to get a thing of Whatchu Spinnin stickers made. And if you see anything cool that you think I would like and want to put on here,
ooh, okay,
hook it up. I'll Venmo you or whatever.
What have you found so far, sticker-wise?
I haven't. I have an Aphex Twin sticker one from that.
So do you get a sticker? Too. Nice. You got a sticker with that vinyl? That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then she got me this one in Utah.
That's cool.
And then this, I got a pedal the other day in the mail, and it had this.
Oh, that's a sweet sticker. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And I've got there's a box out in my garage that has a bunch from when I was smoking a bunch of weed and watching a lot of anime. I've got some Devil May Cry stickers out in the garage, I'm pretty sure still. So
nice. I have some on my water bottle. This is probably one of my favorite ones. It's like
yes,
satanic Psyduck. And then right next to it is a other Psyduck shooting him with a fish Pokemon. I forget which one that is.
Fish gun.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
That's sick. Cool. Hell yeah, brethren. Well, anybody listen to anything cool that they want to shout out?
I need to dive and look real quick. What about you, Jake?
Still bumping that one album from 2 weeks ago. Cavalier's just been on my radar, just back to back. I'm still right there. I still have a saved tab about that album on Bandcamp. Might buy it. Probably will do it. I did listen to most of that new Elucid project that he dropped on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Damn, it's fucking. I mean, that's Elucid. He's out there.
Right.
Just first 20 minutes is just like whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
the first you're like, what's going on? And I was like, okay, he's gonna start talking any minute.
Yeah, no,
Fine.
but that's a pretty cool listen, pretty good. Went into a little bit more of Moor Mother's discography. Very good. She has such a unique voice, but I think we'll get into that later.
Hell yeah. Actually, shout out Matt. This was a recommendation that you had seen, or that you had sent, that I had seen the band name a shit ton and never gave him a shot. I actually ended up doing like a listen to 2 songs and then buy this on vinyl. American Football, their debut project. Really good. Really like that. American Football, self-titled album. Really good. Some like emo-esque kind of stuff. They were like one of those like early emo math rock bands, kind of almost brand new adjacent. Really like their stuff. The guitar work on that was really impressive. So there's a really cool instrumental track on there. I was wearing my Deftones hoodie earlier. I've been getting into Saturday Night Wrist. That was my 200th vinyl that came in the mail on Wednesday. So,
Hey, nice.
Very nice.
so yeah, just I've been going back through and like listening to like spending some time with like full albums from Deftones before I go see them next month. So, yeah, and then yeah, check out that American Football album. Shout out Matt for sending a song off of it or something. I don't know. I was like, I remember
forgot.
seeing that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I remember seeing that. Yeah, and sending something.
Yeah. Yeah, check it out again. Give it a listen. It's fucking great. But hell yeah, boys. Shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. It's about time to dive into Whatchu Spinnin', episode 84. Okay. And let's see. Jake the Snake Roberts. It's a snake, Macho. Macho, let the snake bite you. Daddy.
The Macho Man's coming from.
You don't know where the Macho Man is coming from? I haven't done the voice in a long time. Anyway, let's get this baby going. It's time to kick off Whatchu Spinnin' episode 84 with, my God, this might be one of my favorite albums of all time. I'm going to be honest with you. Easily one of my top 5, in my top 5 rappers of all time. Jake, what am I talking about?
Yeah. I share the same sentiment. I really like this album. This is 2016's debut studio album, Isaiah Rashad, The Sun's Tirade. Came out in 2016. This is a bootleg. They didn't actually officially press this album. I really wish they would. I don't have a lot of bootlegs. I do have a couple. I think they get trashed on a lot because people make a bunch of bootlegs. I think it's fine if you collect them, just as long as you don't try to rip people off and like, oh, this is official, it's numbered, all this bullshit. But it's a bootleg. One of my favorite albums also, especially in that time. I was feeling so nostalgic when I was listening to this, man. Like I just kept thinking back about like hanging out with my friends, blasting this in our cars, you know, going to car meets with this song in the background, all these songs. Went back into Sylvia demo. Yeah, just really became a fan again of this album. But this is our second time bringing up Isaiah Rashad, so we kind of have some familiarity. But what did you guys think about it?
Dorian, go ahead.
Okay. I will go ahead. Yeah, fucking Sun's Tirade, man. This had just come out. This was technically my introduction into Isaiah Rashad. And shout out Alex, friend of the show. He's up in Corvallis. I'm sending him this episode. He couldn't be on today, but he introduced me. Like we kind of got into this at the same time, and for Christmas 2016, he took me to go see this tour. He like printed out and laminated like the like a JPEG of the tour poster and gave it to me as a Christmas gift. That I saw him at the Wow Hall. It's still the only time I've ever been to that venue. And yeah, man, this album fucking really shaped my early 20s. Like, to be honest with you, like from I was 19 when this came out, so like 20 to 22, 23, because we didn't get new Zay music for a really long time. I was bumping the fuck out of this, and so I had the same experience that you did, Jake, to where I was going back and reliving. I was driving my shitty '04 Honda Civic without a front bumper, and listening to Titty and Dalla on repeat,
Yep.
doing God knows what, on my way to the mall to work or whatever. And yeah, man, this is just this album is fucking incredible in my opinion. It's the production on it's unreal. This was what turned, obviously, like I said, what made me such a diehard Isaiah Rashad fan and automatically projected him into one of my favorite rappers. So shout out to you for bringing this up, man.
Yeah, this is an album. I mean, the first introduction for me was when you guys brought up, or when Dorian brought up House is Burning. That's a great album too. That was a fun introduction. I think this album was a little bit more accessible for me, just because some of the appearances by other rappers on there, and just the flow, starting with For the Squad. And then in the Free Lunch, those two songs just capture the whole dynamic of this album. And he's such a good lyricist, and he flows pretty well. And the beats behind the music is great. It's so fun to listen to. It grew on me over the last few weeks. Definitely going to try to find this one on vinyl. I don't do that too often, but this one's a fucking sticker. I like this album. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, it's great, man. I think if you like hip hop, you would like this. I'd classify this as like the golden age of like 2010s, because it has, like prime Kendrick in it, like right after he did Pimp a Butterfly. It's got SZA on it. It's got J Rock, where he was also very prominent in TDE. So it has like all the heavy hitters in that lane with that label. So it's great. It's such a time capsule too. I feel like if you listen to this back in the day and like you could pinpoint what you were doing at this time, like just hanging with your friends, listening to it casually. It's such a good like memory to come back to and just relive those memories that we had. And the show we went to, Dorian, it was the first show that we had gone to when we had like first like actually hung out outside of work. For the and it was for not for Sun's Tirade, but it was for House is Burning. But they played like Isaiah Rashad played a lot of the songs on this album, like Free Lunch, like Smile, like he did For the Squad too, I think, a couple others. So yeah, it's like these are like classic Isaiah songs on this album.
Yeah, and you're right. It was kind of this weird, like once, like we talked about this oddly enough the last time Alex was on the show, when we talked about To Pimp a Butterfly and how that album coming out in 2015 kind of made people realize like, oh shit, like we can like rap again. Like hip hop can be something that actually is worth something and isn't just a money making scheme at this point. And this was an immediate byproduct of that, because this is like I said, this is what introduced me to this album, and I still think it's way more popular than Sylvia Demo ever was, even though that's a fantastic project as well. But yeah, this was part of that, big push from 2015 on until 2020 of like real lyrical hip hop that's like actually thought out, and that's when people started giving a shit about beats again. It wasn't just, again, like the Nellies and the 50 Cents had like died off and everything, and we're like, all right, cool, we can, Kendrick really changed with that album, and then Isaiah Rashad being associated with TDE as well. You can really tell like what it is, again, like you said, a fucking time capsule of 2016 and what was coming out at that time.
Feels like a very personal album too for him lyrically, like what he's going through, whether it be addiction or depression or whatever. And it's cool to hear that from people and know that you're not alone out there, that even people that are on top of the world with a hit album still suffer through all that stuff. It's a good eye opener for people out there that maybe think they don't. So we all go through shit, and if you're able to put it out on paper or in a studio and people love it. It's a good outlet. It's a good release, I'm sure. I'm glad he's able to do that and find that outlet. Probably helps him a whole lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's all over this album, that he was like going through like alcohol abuse and drug abuse, with multiple drugs, and he speaks about that, and you hear that in the lyrics. And he almost got kicked off the label. He almost got kicked off TD multiple times because he was fucking up, like he wasn't on track. So yeah, it's cool that he can like come out from that, and yeah, the struggle is there, but he persevered, he pushed through it, and he talks about that too, even in his newest album, how like in multiple interviews he had said that he was like in a dark place when like all of this was going on, just based off the success that he was having. So yeah, even if you are someone's favorite artist or a big prominent person in the music scene, it's we all have struggles, we all have stuff we go through. So he kind of had that voice for those people that were kind of going through the same shit that he was. So
yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things about the album, is because this around 2016 was when I started listening to full albums again. It was like giving these things full appreciation. And so listening to something cover to cover, I think right after this came out, I started working in Veneta. So I was driving an hour to work every day, so I was constantly listening to shit. And, the voicemail samples that he has throughout this, like, you got till Friday, dog, all this shit. And it's like, yeah, like you said, he was at risk of losing his deal with TDE, which ended up, in my opinion, was one of the biggest things for him. And you just touched on it a little bit at the end there, Jake. The lyricism of this, like if you listen to it enough, is wild. Like it is, especially for me at that time, because I was just part of the fucking call center rat race. It was just horseshit. I was working for fucking pennies until midnight. Like I was working dog shit shifts. And so you listen to songs like Brenda, and it's like, what the fuck can you do with 1025 plus your weed habit and my weed habit and your weed? Like lines like that. Like I still remember that like the back of my fucking hand, because those songs, like listening to this album and hearing songs like Brenda and that lyricism, is like, oh yeah, no, like I'm not alone. And like it sounds almost kind of to say it, but I was like, no, that fucking really helped me get through a lot. Was something as on the nose as that line in Brenda. And yeah, man, I mean, fuck. I can go down. I'll go down the list if you want me to. I got something for every song on here, man.
Oh, I got time, dude. Yeah. No, that's perfect. Thank you. That's like probably the clearest, one of the clear points we could see in the album, that he does that, and he talks about that a lot all throughout it, and even the voicemails. Yeah, like you said, it's like a lot of them are him, but he's also like self-reflecting on stuff that he's talking about. So the lyricism from him is very good, but also the features on here, man. Like this is prime Kendrick. This is like Kendrick at his hungriest. Like we're getting like mean Kendrick, like we haven't seen in a while. So it's like
still one of my top 3 Kendrick features to this day. Yeah,
it's
hard to beat, man.
Me too. Yeah, it's one of my favorites from him. Also J-Rock. It's, I think, my favorite of the like 3 different times that they collaborate. So everyone was just on their game from this. Like everyone was just the peak of what they were doing, and like just so like zoned in. Silk the Shaka, I love that song with Sid. Kind of cool also that Steve Lacy produced it. Like there's a lot of people that helped out and like had a fine print to the album that helped it out so much. But yeah, man, it's crazy how after Sylvia demo in 2014, 2 years later, he still had that same that hunger, that same energy to keep pushing through music and releasing stuff. So I'm glad that he was able to make this album and it be so good as it was. Because it really, like, this was the last thing we had heard for years until we heard House is Burning. So it kind of like, it was so good. Like as a fan, you're like, oh, this album is so good. Like how can you back up a new album coming up after that? And he left us with such a gem that like really had us like, flavor it and pounder on it and like thinking about it before the new one came out. So it's a very solid project for him to release.
Yeah, the amount of time, like I love, like I said, obviously I've expressed my love for this album. By the time 2021 came around and he was like the rollout for The House is Burning was happening, I was like, dude, if this sucks, I'm gonna be so mad. I was like, because it was so long, and I grew to love this so much that I was like, dude, this is one of my fucking like. I think I put it on like a couple desert island lists at one point, when you're sitting around with friends, you're like, what albums you bringing? And there were times where I was like, fucking Sun's Tirade easily, to the point where I was like, fuck, like House is Burning better be good. And it was so good that I saw him in concert again and waited a year and a half for a record to come. Like,
yeah.
Jake, can we tell the story of you buying this, because it is associated with that show, and I think it's one of the fucking funniest things you've ever done. All right, you want me to tell it?
Yeah, go for it.
We go to this show right at the McDonald, and that's, I don't know if we've told that full story on this podcast, but that's an off the mic story that we do love to spill every once in a while. But I had bought some merch. I bought like a long sleeve T-shirt, a pink hoodie that I've worn on this. I've worn both of them on the show numerous times. And Jake he's like, I want to go, but I don't want to miss the show. And there were things outside of both of our control that caused him not to go to the merch table. We'll leave it at that. And I'm at home. I don't know if it was that night or the next day. We were playing like fucking Worms or something on Xbox, and you're like, man, I'm so fucking pissed I didn't buy anything from that show. And I was like, look on their website, man. They got to have some of that on the website. He goes, there's nothing. Like, the website is empty. There is not shit on the TDE website. And he's like, God damn it. And so he goes on Discogs and finds this album for $100 and buys it immediately.
Damn.
It's like, I was gonna buy $100 worth of merch. I was like, okay, we'll let you justify it that way.
Yeah, because I was pissed, man. I was pissed. I missed out all the merch. I missed out on the posters, whatever, everything. I missed out, so I had to get something.
One of my favorite things that you've ever done since I've known you. That's so fucking funny. Hell yeah, man. Do we have anything else that we want to... Oh, one thing, I love it when Isaiah sings, man. Fucking Rope, Rose Gold, like shit like that. Oh, give me an album of him doing, like, really leaning into the fact that he's from, Tennessee, fucking Alabama way. Like, let him lean into that and give me like a Southern hip hop kind of... I don't know. I want Outkast meets fucking...
He was talking about Decatur in some of his lyrics. I heard that.
Yeah. Fuck. Now I can't think of it. Far Side. I want like Far Side, Bone Thugs meets Outkast. I want an album of that from fucking Zay. I think that'd be sick. But hell yeah, do you wanna...
If you haven't looked into YG Tut, he's also an artist out from Chattanooga that he collaborates a lot. Yeah, he was on House is Burning. I'm pretty sure, but they're frequent collaborators. Him and Isaiah Rashad, Preacher's Son, very good. I will bring it up sometime, but Isaiah Rashad is on that album. Also G35, another song that Isaiah Rashad is on that album with YG Tut. So also a really good artist to look into. But in those songs, to the point, is like he kind of has that like singy, songy, flowy tone that he's doing. So it's out there. It's out there. But yeah, definitely. If you haven't heard this album, get to it.
Do it. Do it now.
No kidding. Hell yeah. I will. I just wrote down all of that you said. YG Tut, Preacher's Son, House is Burning, fucking singing. Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, fuck yeah, dude. Isaiah Rashad, Sun's Tirade 2016, one of the best. Go ahead and kick us off there, buddy.
Yeah. Honorable mention that I've really been listening to lately was, funny enough, the Rope song. Because I do like Sir. His vocals are very like faint in the background and the first part of Rope. You don't really hear him. I wish he would have rapped, because he is R&B, but he does rap. So that would have been cool. But the second part of Rose Gold, I like that beat switch. So that's my honorable mention. Number 3, For the Squad, classic. Number 2, Titty and Dalla, love that. Hugh Augustine, really good also, by the way. That it's hard to stand out with a song that you have to feature on with J-Rock and Isaiah Rashad. So the fact that he did and didn't fuck up the song, props. And then my favorite song that I've been listening to is Find a Topic, Homies Begged.
Oh.
It always kind of like slid under the radar for me. But I've been listening to that one a lot lately. So yeah, that's my number 1.
Well, because it's at the very end, and there's like 100 fucking songs on this album.
Yeah. There's a few.
I forgot how long this thing was. I was like, damn. I was like, it doesn't feel like it. I don't know if it takes up that much time in comparison to some that we've covered for sure. But I was like, damn, I forgot that there's like it pushes almost 20. Hell yeah. I'll go next. Honorable mentions for me, Stuck in the Mud. Another great collaboration that we've seen a couple of times between SZA and Isaiah, and I think this is the best one. Second honorable mention, I quoted it, Brenda. Number 3 for me was Rope/Rose Gold. Jake just gave that a lot of appreciation, and I love the singing Zaya. I don't know why I feel all in gray. Great line. Number 2 was AA for me. It's like it's the highlight of the end of the album for me. And then number 1 for me was Titty and Dalla, man. That I used to just play the J-Rock verse off of that for people to be like, listen to how this motherfucker subdivides over a beat. Okay, you want to tell? This is when I was getting really into like rap and like dissecting shit. You know, this is one of the songs that made me freak out about that type of shit. So, hell yeah,
love that. That's cool. Honorable mentions for me were Birthday and Stuck in the Mud. Love those tracks. Great lyricism both. 3, Silk the Shocker, just for the song itself and the throwback to the 90s rapper from the Master P label. He was fast rapper. Yeah. For the Squad, number 2, and then Free Lunch just was the catchiest tune on that album. The bars on that, you just repeat in your head and it just doesn't go away. I love it when an album has a song like that and it just sticks with you. And this one was it for me.
Hell yeah. I love speaking on the production on that song, the bass line on that is so nice. And that's like one of my favorite things about this album as a whole is there's a lot of like audible good bass work on it. Whether that's like, I'm sure it's all sampling or whatever, but good shit. Anyway, that was The Sun's Tirade by Isaiah Rashad, released in 2016. We'll go ahead and fast forward about 5 years later to my album for this week. It's Whatchu Spinnin, episode 84. Stick around. Excellent. All right. Well, it's time to, like I said a couple seconds ago, time to move forward in time to 2021 for my pick this week. An interesting one that I recently got into, Tread by Ross from Friends. Some electronic kind of, just a little happy noises, I guess. I don't know. It's one that's hard to put an exact genre on, but I fucking love it. But yeah, what did y'all think?
It's fun, man. It's danceable. Housey, like it has everything in it. From the starting track with Daisy, a little catchy little whatever she's saying, just reels you in, and it's a fun listen, and it makes me want to just start moving. You know, it's so catchy. How did you find these guys?
So it was part of that ambient vibe playlist that I made after I started diving down the Apex Twin rabbit hole. The playlist was like so small that like I would listen to it super quick, and then I would just let Spotify DJ from there, you know, kind of like throw stuff on. And the Daisy and Love Divide came on, like the first 2 tracks off of this came on right after each other one day, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, the fact that it threw 2 in a row, I was like, I loved both of them. And so I went and listened to the whole thing, and the rest is history. And within like 2 weeks, I was like, yeah, I've listened to this every day for 10 days. I gotta fucking buy this on Discogs. So
he's a great DJ. He just kind of wraps you up in his atmosphere. It's just tight house and electronic beats, and it's listenable. I think anybody can listen to this and find something they like about it. So I love it.
Oh yeah. No, it's good, man. It's I love what the Brits I love what they're doing out there, man, cuz their dance music is like second to none. The scene over there is perfect. Like over Mono, also a British duo. So this guy, like, I just want to be out there just to like, go to the like super secret warehouse club and hear this bumping because it would be, because it's really good. He's doing a really good job. I had heard of Ross from Friends because I have like a gym playlist that's like just like dance and house and then electronic. So I had heard. I'm pretty sure it's Love Divide because it's like the most popular song on here, but hadn't heard actually the whole album. So hearing the whole thing, it's really good and really well polished what he was doing. It's a great album. Um, Life in a Mind was one of those that really like to the end of the album was like kind of a shocker for me. What he was doing, so it's really cool. Like little beat breaks that he has. It like kind of flows between house and also like dance, and at some points kind of techno. I heard that from XXX Olympiad. It was kind of giving me those techno vibes, but no, really solid, really solid, and I love a good song I can gym out to and hit a new PR in. So a couple of these songs went on that playlist for me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, those first three
Yeah.
tracks just knock it out of the park. I like the slide guitar and Revelers, kind of hidden in there. It sounds so cool behind the beats and what he's doing. It's a great
Hell yeah.
intro, great introduction for the album, the way it starts.
Oh yeah, I agree. That's why I was like, I thought it was funny because it gave me those two tracks. It's like, oh shit, it's just the start of it. It's like a real. They kind of like gave me the best part, on a platter. Um, a little. There's not much backstory to this. Like, it's funny, and the whole Wikipedia argument has been done ad nauseum, so I won't even begin there. But it's hilarious that there's like no mention of this on his Wikipedia page, other than like you go to his discography. But if you go to his Bandcamp, the posting for this album, he kind of tells the backstory of it, and I don't know if either of you looked into it at all. So the last two tracks are Thresho 1 and 2, or 1.0 and 1.1. He was tired of like having to start and stop recording a shit ton, and so he wrote his own plugin, because he felt that it was like doing that was kind of killing the vibe, for lack of a better word, of him like jamming these instruments by himself, because he does all of this shit himself and creates samples, whatever, and him having to start and stop all the time was killing the vibe basically. And so he wrote his own plugin that like would detect how much audio, like once it hit a certain threshold it would start recording, and then once it's like went below that threshold it would stop the recording. And so as long as he had like something going, he could sit there and fucking, play forever. And then I'll send the Bandcamp link to you guys, because it's a very interesting read, because he goes into this whole thing of like, yeah, he's like, I made these huge recordings and then I'd be in a project and then just drag and drop one of those recordings in and see what I could get out. Like, it's fucking crazy.
That's insane. Wow.
Yeah, and I read that this morning. And I was like, "Oh, this is one of the best albums ever." Then I was like, "That's one of the craziest backstories I've heard in this genre or anything else." And yeah, I do like the kind of all over the place. It kind of touches like all of the corners of electronic music, whether it's like IDM, dance music, or house, techno. It kind of does touch anything and everything in between, and that's what kind of kept me coming back to it, because you could start it at any point in the album and you're going to get something like some weird combination of electronic music.
Yeah, I did read that like the little article he wrote, and he like pretty much just made his own program to like keep the song constantly going and just like looping. Fucking wild. Like, you're making music, dude. You're not making like like a Excel worksheet or whatever. Like he was
It's
doing
not that
some
deep.
other creative stuff. Yeah, it was so really cool that he was doing that. And it's a really long article, and shout out Brain Feeder, man. Like that Flying Lotus label, like they have so many cool different artists on there. that he is also a part of. That's what it was released from. So, Flying Lotus just like finds the most niche like DJs and rappers to go on it and just helps them out by giving him a label. So I think it's really cool. I haven't heard his first album at all, but I see mention of it a lot, Family Portrait. So I'm gonna need to give that a listen to get a little bit more of his earlier work. But this one's really solid.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Family Portrait's good. I've heard a couple songs off of it. The title track's really good off of that one. And yeah, you kind of touched on it. I mean, I want to say my piece about the UK scene right now, real quick. It's like weird that they're going through this like resurgence of popularity to where they're killing it this hard because
Mhm.
I mean, we've talked about that a lot on the show. You know how like like the mid to late '90s in the UK and France and house and techno was unreal. It was
Mhm.
crazy, and then
Yeah.
it kind of died down, and no one really gave a fuck about that type of music anymore. And then now that people are getting back into it, it's like, oh shit, no, like go listen to fucking, as they refer to it, UK garage, like in
Mhm.
drum and bass and like garage music coming out of there. It's like fucking crazy. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
dude. Like I want to do the same. Just go, because the UK club scene has to be nuts right now.
Mhm.
Like it just has to be crazy. Because it's kind of the thing. It's the most difference between countries that you can see right now in music. You don't really see it as much with say like heavy metal or rap music besides like the accent. But you look at the difference in America between America and the UK when it comes to electronic music in any of its forms. It's so crazy the different shit that we're putting out and like what's popular. It's wild to me. It's something I've been kind of getting into lately. I'm like, this is crazy, man.
Yeah. No, the scene over there, and that's funny you mentioned that because yeah, like the 80s, 90s scene in the UK was just that, like techno, dance, house music, and it's coming back. It's coming back with a lot of different, like Joe Orbison, also a really big producer out there. Over Mono, Ross from Friends, like a lot of these people out there are still putting out this kind of music, and we're seeing it a lot come out from the UK, and really crazy collabs. I really like the rap music out there, and a lot of these house artists collaborate with rappers, and you get some really good, really crazy songs. Like Over Mono, they have a song that they did with a UK rapper out there, like a drill rapper, that it shouldn't work, but it does. It really does. So,
Nice.
yeah, what they're doing out there is really cool, and I want to experience it. But yeah,
Hell
it's
yeah.
fucking good.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, personally, I don't have much more. I'm still like, I fell in love with this album pretty quickly, and I mean, I feel like when we talk about the genre, there's not much to like really talk about other than like the happy beeps noise is great. Like outside of that, uh, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I like the fact that his live show apparently it's like him on keys with like the drum beats go like the beat pads, and then he's got like two friends playing like bass and like I can't remember what other instruments, but like that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
uh so I'd really like to see that at some like that. Just sounds really cool to me. And yeah, I mean it's something that like I've been interested in for a really long time, and I've mixed and stuff, and I'm like, so I love finding new weird like quirky quirky music like this that you can't really pigeonhole because it touches all of those bases. So that's what I really appreciated about this. But we can top three it up if y'all are down.
Down.
Let's do it. All right. Honorable mentions for me. Love Divide, one of the first two songs I heard off of this and still really holds for me. Second honorable mention for me, and it was one that I was like, I almost want to not like it, but I kept coming back to it, and that's Spatter Splatter. That like beginning church choir thing was like a little, I don't know why, out of all the stuff I listened to, I was having trouble getting into that. But I love that, and then I think it's a perfect start to a song that ends where it does. You know what I mean? Like that weird transition it goes through, because it's almost two songs in one, in my opinion. So I really liked that. And then number three for me was Grub. Great song. yeah, that I don't want to give it away, but yeah, the 3-track run right there is fucking phenomenal. Number 2 for me is the Daisy. Chef's kiss. The like swell, it's got so many of these like synth swells in it that just really do something for me. And the number 1 for me was Triple X Olympiad, man. Multiple times since I've heard this album, I would just put that on and it's like, all right, everything's fucking cool. Really like to put that on and walk around at night lately when it's been super cold, just go for a brief walk to the mailbox because it's at the front of my neighborhood, so it's a little bit of a jaunt. Just listen to that at night. Whew, wonderful.
Love that song title too. That's my favorite song title on the album, for sure. Honorable mention for me was a Brand New Start. Like that track. That was fun listen. Number 3, Threshold 1.0. Like that one. 2, Revelers. I feel like that's also kind of like 2 songs in one. The way it starts with that slide guitar and then kind of goes into that disco manic 80s action scene vibe or whatever. And
Yeah.
my top song was the Daisy, just because I don't know, it just hooks you right away. And to start the album off with that track was a brilliant move, and it sealed the deal for me. I was like, all right, if this is the first song, I know I'm in for a treat. Let's go.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that first like 3 tracks on the album, it's solid. The Daisy, Love Divide, Revelers, it's amazing. My honorable mention is Revelers. I love that. It's hard to like those 2 are for sure the hard hitters of the album, so it's hard keeping that same energy, but it does. So that's my honorable mention. Number 3, Triple X Olympiad. Number 2, Life in a Mind. And then my favorite track was Threshold 1.0. And when I read that backstory to it of how he was doing it and that he like just basically made his own computer program for that, I was like, oh, this is fucking wicked. It's way cooler now. So
hell yeah. Rock on. Yeah, that's like my favorite little tidbit of information I've found out in the past like month. So hell yeah. Yeah, rock on, baby. Well, that was 2021's Tread by Ross from Friends. Little UK action for you. Go ahead and check that out. I think even if that's not really your thing, I think a lot of people could find something out of that they would like. So go ahead and give it a listen, and do me a favor and stick around so we can wrap this baby up and talk about Matt's pick for this week. It's Whatchu Spinnin, episode 84. Fuck yeah. All right. Well, what do you say we wrap it up, boys?
Let's wrap it up. Tybo.
Heck yeah. We're here to wrap up episode 84 of Whatchu Spinnin, but before we do that, we gotta let my main man Matt break it down for us with his pick for this week. What you got, man?
Let me speak. We're bringing 2020 album Moor Mother and Billy Woods called Brass. I don't own this album. It's probably hard to find, and if you can find it, it's a little spendy, but we know that about Backwoods albums and anything that Billy Woods puts out or anything that comes out of that label that's hard to find. It just doesn't get reprinted, and then you wait, and then you have to go see him live to get an album, and then you finally do, and it's worth it. Anyways.
That is it. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Right?
That's it.
I dove into this album kind of after I started listening to the Maps. And then even last year, a little bit more than that too, and just kind of just fell in love right away. Moor Mother's vocal is dynamic, and it's sad, and it's happy, and it's artistic in so many different ways. And when she starts rapping, it's even more insightful, and like she just has so much to say, and you can hear it in her vocal, like she is soulful and just passionate about what she's doing it. And so when an artist does that, for me, it just captivates me, and I love it. And then Bailey adds his own flair too. He got so many appearances. We got everybody on here that we love. We got Makami, we got Navy Blue, Elucid, of course. I mean, where do you start? This album from start to finish is just so elaborate. This is abstract in a few different ways, but it's so accessible. Songs like Archaeology, Thump. If you don't like that song, Get Out of My Face. Anyways, I could just keep going on about this album. What did you guys think? I know what you thought, but why don't you tell everybody else what you thought? Hey
man, it's Billy Woods. It's Billy Woods doing Billy Woods with Moor Mother. Um, Not to discredit Moor Mother, I've really come to appreciate her from this album. Um, I was looking online for some more information about this, and I found an interview that they did with the Needle Drop. And it's very rare to see Billy Woods interviews anywhere. And the fact that they did it post this album, him, Billy Woods, and More Mother, just kind of talking about the album and like their progress, how they build upon it, stumbled upon each other musically, and how they like crafted it all together. It's a really good listen. I definitely recommend it. But it's almost movie like. Like the transitions, they just like hand off to each other each song. Like it's like a perfect segue every time. And it's just masterclass. Um, Top to bottom, like the production standpoint, looking at it, we got preservation, child actor, to like very, they work a lot with Billy Woods, Lucid, all that whole scene. Then you have Messiah music, Navy Blue production is on here, Alchemist production is on here. So it's like it's very very heavy with who was on it. Um, but really to pinpoint it, it's Billy Woods and Moor Mother like at their peak. And especially Moor Mother. I had never heard of her before this, before I stumbled upon this album, and it's fantastic. She holds her own with Billy Woods, and at certain points they go back and forth. Like Gang for a Day, they're both just going back and forth. They're just going at it. And like if someone can, match bar for bar for with Billy Woods, that's already says something. So it really earned my like respect from her. Like she really brought everything to the table, and her voice is also just so unique. Like no one else sounds like her. So it really made me appreciate this album. So thanks for bringing it up.
Oh yeah. This was, to be honest, this was my first like full listen to of this project. I can't remember which song I had heard. I had heard one. I want to say it was Rapunzel, but I heard Chimney, and I was thinking maybe it was that one too. But anyway, all that to say, god damn, dude. There, you're right. Like there are songs where like the transitions are just so seamless, but then they work so well together that like they kind of both of them are almost on every song together, from for better or for worse. And there was a point where I was like, oh, I forgot this is a More Mother album too, but she still has such a hand in the creation of this. And you said it best. You said it right then. Someone being able to match one of today's best lyricists and most thought out, like to be honest, like Billy Woods is a writer at this point. Someone who can match that from a songwriting standpoint, a poetry standpoint, and then to deliver it in a rap adjacent style is fucking phenomenal. And she has her unique voice, which I fell in love with from fucking jump. I was like, oh my god. Like I had to like kind of stop and sit for a second. I was like, whoa, like let me listen to, Furies, the Blues Remembers Everything, like that first 3-track run. I had to kind of like stop and listen to again because I was like, whoa, dude, this was not what I was expecting. It's so experimental, but not so you said it best, Matt. It's accessible, but it's so experimental at the same time. It's not Aethiopes and it's not, haram, but it's right in this sweet spot where you want to listen to every song because it's like, wait, what's next? Like, what's next? And yeah, man, like Archaeology, you said it. Fight me if you don't like that song. That shit rules, dude. Like, the features are incredible. The rap features are great. We've been geeking out about Elucid a lot lately. His features incredible. One of my favorites though is Fielded, who Billy has done his own project with. So it's just like all coming together. This is like one of those projects that you find in a artist discography where it's like, oh, everything's kind of coming together. This is like kind of everything that we've listened to of Billy Woods is on this one project, if you kind of break it down that way. And man, does it make for a good listen and a good one to come back to time and time again. You love something different about it. So thanks for finally forcing me to listen to this one.
Anytime. But yes, tracks like Rapunzel, where they hook you with that beat and that soft ambient noise in the background. It'll jump from a track like that to towards the end of the album with Tiberius, and that is so experimental and so out there. But it's, for me, I love that song. It's in my top 3. When an album can go from that to another vibe instantly like that and be relevant, it's so cool. So cool to hear that. This album has so many unique songs. It's hard to find a top 3, honestly. From the start of the album all the way to the end, it just thumps. And Archaeology, I think, is probably the standout track because all 3 artists, or I think, all 3 artists are just going hard on that album or on that song, and they all have unique lyrics in that song, and it's just so good. I never skip that track. It's always turned up to 11, man. Seriously, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It was really, I was really engaged when I was listening to their interview. Just hearing them both like give their thoughts about that, like the construction of the album. Because Billy Woods he's like a historian. Billy Woods always talks about history. He always, his rapping is always like History Will Absolve Me, perfect example. Stuff that was in Haram, also perfect example. And Moor Mother, she describes herself as like a futurist, like always trying to, advance and evolve. So them combining on this was perfect. Like they're perfect. They were meant to collaborate, and it like forced both of them to like really sharpen their pen, like really like be super precise in what they're rapping, and just very thought out, very methodical how they were doing it. And I like how in that song where they're both just battling back and forth, Gang for a Day, they constantly shout out Elucid, which is hilarious. He's on the album, but they're like, hey, let's shout him out even on this song. So it's cool. Like they're both just like so precise what they're doing. It's like a sword's edge. They're just like chopping through shit. And everything about it, like you just look at the track list, you see the features on it, and it's like daunting. It's like, holy shit, they have Makami, they have it Lucid, Navy Blue. Like it's almost kind of daunting seeing a track list like this, but it's from front to back, like it's solid, and you can get something out of it for sure.
Yeah. I did a brief look into Moor Mother because I was just trying to, and I didn't really read through any of the articles, but that's hilarious, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, that she considers herself a futurist, because that line, one of her lines that stuck out the most to me was, "You can't spell future without Moor Mother, motherfucker." Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
that shit, I was like, oh, that was when I was like, oh, Moor Mother's fucking sick, dude. Like that line for me, I was like, all right, dude, I fucking see you. I was like, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, and I don't know, like it's something about this collaboration that is so unique that it's like, of course, this is one of the only times Billy Woods gets an interview recorded and everything. And it's like he's managed to do this. This is like one of 3 times that Billy Woods has found the perfect collaborator, right? Elucid, Kenny Siegel, and now Moor Mother. To where as soon as I heard a project between him and Elucid, when I heard Haram, I was like, want more of this every day. Then I heard I heard Maps with Kenny Siegel. I was like, I need all of this. And then now I'm like, give me 5 more albums of this. Like, this is fucking insane. Because of how, like, they're fucking weird, man. Like, I don't know what else. I don't know how else to say it. They're weird. They make weird shit, but it works. It's like such a beautiful marriage of creativity and music, and it's like the futurist versus the historian. And I'm like, dude, the WWE couldn't dream of writing something this awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, epic album. I'm glad you guys are into it. It's one of my top hip hop albums of all time for me now, just because it sticks with me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Right. There's some projects of Billy Woods that I'm like, I don't like. I think all of his projects are great. Everything I've heard I've liked, but I'm like, I don't know why this is so expensive. Like, there's got to be. And this one, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Like this one, yeah. I'm kind of glad they made it as exclusive as they did. But thank God it's on streaming. Yeah, man. So like, and Rapunzel and Chimney are like constantly mentioned on Reddit when Billy Woods is brought up. They're like, yeah, Rapunzel and Chimney are two insane songs. And to have that kind of prompt to where the fan base is even like, dude, these two songs are ridiculous. And I can't recall that he's played either of them live when we've seen him, whether it was the Arm & Hammer show or his solo show. And yeah, like you said, Matt, it's almost impossible to pick a top three on this. To the point where, as you were saying that, I was looking down, I was like, I don't even know if this is my top three anymore. It's still a solid, like, these are solid songs, but I listened to the album another time since I did this, you know?
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. No, it's solid, man. I want to look more into Moor Mother's projects. She has a lot of work, and she's like a poet. She's like that's what she does, kind of, it's like poetry.
Yeah.
So I want to
like
look
Saul
more.
Williams.
She has a track with Saul. I think I shared that with you guys. Yeah, I was like,
yeah, you did.
I'm like, come on now, this is a match made in heaven. I'm like, that's who it reminded me of, honestly, when I first heard Moor Mother. I was like, oh, it's my female Saul Williams right here, man. She's speaking.
Exactly.
She's speaking to my heart, and I can feel it every time I hear her. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can type in the top three.
Okay, hit me, Matt.
All right, honorable mention for me, Rapunzel. I think that was the first song that really stood out on the album for me. Just always kept coming back to that. Number three would be probably Giraffe Hunts. I feel like that kind of calms things down towards the end of the album. Kind of has that soft touch. Number two, Tiberius, again, into the album. Different track, very experimental, ambient, whatever you want to call it. I love that song. And then obviously number one, Archaeology. Always play that track loud. At 11, like I keep saying. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead of me, Jake. I got to find this lyric that I'm trying to...
Yeah. I'll go next. Honorable mention, Gang for a Day. I liked it first listen, and then I saw the interview, and they put so much emphasis on that song, and I hear it. And yeah, everything about it, I love it. So that's an honorable mention. Also honorable mention, also Tiberius. Yeah, very fucking freaky song. And it's perfect that Elucid's on it. Number three, let me get my list here. Number three was Rapunzel. I love that song. Great combination of them, Billy Woods and Moor Mother. Number two was Giraffe Hunts. I fucking kind of snuck in that Alchemist is on the producer end of this. I did not expect I'd see him in here, but he produced that. And then Portrait, my favorite track. Another Navy Blue and Billy Wood. I feel like Navy Blue is fucking everywhere. How? Somehow, some way, he like his footprint is somewhere all over these albums. But I love that song. I love the beat switch on it. It's kind of like a happy ending to the album. The album is kind of feels dark at some points and spooky, but that I feel like it has a good happy ending to it.
I dig it. I agree. I like that. Honorable mention for me, Black Forest. That was one that I kept coming back to play like just singularly off this album. Second honorable mention, Furies. It was a good way to start off the album. Hooked me immediately. Number three for me was Maroons. The beat switch on that about 2 minutes in. Whew. Been a while since I heard one that made me say, what is the exact timestamp of that? I was like, let me write that down. I was like, that's ridiculous. Number two for me, one that's been on y'all's as well, Giraffe Hunts. Just the imagery in that on Billy's verse is fucking dark, and it's like spook. Man. That is what made me, I was like, I heard that this morning. I was like, dude, I can't fucking wait to talk about this album. This is going to be crazy. And the number one for me was Scary Hours, actually. This was one that I really liked, kind of the battle between Moor Mother and Billy on this album. That was one of the highlights of it for me. And that Inoculate the Babies line was so dope because it's such like a polar, like, exactly, it's a very on the nose reference to that topic of discussion that's very polarizing and across the world. So I was like, oh fuck, man, Wood's getting into that, let's go, man. I was so stoked on that. So yeah, number one for me was Scary Hours. Fuck yeah.
Nice. Very good.
Hell yeah. Well, Matt, thank you for again, making me listen to Brass by Billy Woods and Moor Mother, which was released in 2020, which was your pick for this
Yes.
episode 84 of Whatchu Spinnin. I think it's about time to let people know what's coming next. So go ahead and stick around for me. We'll be right back. It's Whatchu Spinnin. We're in for a real treat, boys. This is gonna be a fun one. I have a feeling.
Oh yeah.
This one was pretty fun. This
Yeah.
episode's been fun, but I think this one's about to be real fun.
Gonna be a blast.
I'm going hiding place. I just go.
I only write for the dead. Something the lucid said.
We talk about Billy Woods 4 out of the last 5 episodes, basically.
Yeah. So
Hell yeah. All right.
We like.
Do
almost
y'all
got
have your
shrine
albums at the ready?
point. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. It's time to do everybody's favorite part, the one that I anticipate the most, the one it gets harder and harder every week to pick what I'm bringing up next. It's time that we let y'all know what's coming up on episode 85 of Whatchu Spinnin. Getting up there, boys. And we go in the order that we spoke today. So that means, Jake, you're up first, my man.
Yes. Yeah. So this one's hot off the press. I just got this yesterday, and I ordered it like a month and a half ago. It's been a long time coming, but it is. Oh, that's the backside. This is the backside.
Nice.
I haven't opened it yet. It's Re by Café Tacuba. Came out in '94. It's like some good Mexican rock.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so excited. That's going to be sick.
Mm-hmm.
When did that come out?
'94.
Nice. I like
Okay.
it.
Some
Well,
good
what if I went 8 years before that and I brought up a classic 1986's License to Ill by the Beastie Boys. It's been a while since I've brought up hip hop, and I think we should bring up one of the classics here.
That's a great pick. This next episode is going to be intense because they're all different genres. I've been sleeping on this one a while, but I feel like it's the winter vibe, still kind of that not depressed vibe, but kind of low key vibe. So I'm going with 1989's Disintegration by The Cure. The Robert Smith. Yes, here we go. Classic album.
Oh, you know what's crazy, Matt? I was thinking about that the other day, like earlier this week. I was like, I wonder when Matt's going to bring up The Cure. Because I was at a record store and I saw that album. I was like, oh man, I was like, we haven't talked about The Cure, but we've talked about Depeche. Fuck yeah, man.
There we go. New artist.
Oh, that is perfect timing too, honestly. No better time than now. The Cure, man,
Wow.
The Cure, Re, and then Beastie Boys, who got a little bit of love during the hip hop bracket with Paul's Boutique. We're gonna give him a full album.
Yes.
Man, that's gonna be fun. You're right, Matt. That is gonna be an intense week. Hell yeah. Well, that's awesome. Good stuff coming at you. Next time we meet for Whatchu Spinnin in about 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, I'm Dorian. That's Matt, and that's Jake. Feel free to tell everybody you know about this podcast. We are everywhere that you can listen to and subscribe to podcast. Be a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Dorian Dilly, constantly posting stuff. Probably going to be posting a lot more of me playing music stuff here soon. And yeah, support your local musician, support your local record store. Go eat at a local restaurant and listen to something new. Whether it's Ross from Friends, Moor Mother, or fucking Isaiah Rashad. Anyway, this has been Whatchu Spinnin episode 84. Take it easy.
See ya.
What?